You see the setup. Everything lines up. Your cursor moves toward the button and stops. Not dramatically, no alarm, no obvious fear, just stopped. And price starts moving without you. You've been here before, maybe yesterday, maybe 100 times. There is a moment right before the click where something happens. It is very fast, very specific, and almost never seen. This is that moment. Slow down. It starts before you realize it has started. The pattern forms. Your eyes confirm it. Your system says yes. But somewhere between recognition and execution, something else activates. Not a thought, something earlier than thought. A tightening across the chest, a slight resistance in the hand, breathing that just doesn't complete. Your body has already voted before you have a reason. This is not casual hesitation. This is protection. The mind has cross-referenced this moment against every previous moment that looked like this one. And somewhere in that catalog, there is a loss, a stop-out, a clean setup that failed. The small, specific humiliation of being wrong. The mind doesn't calculate, it recognizes. And this configuration has a history. So without asking you, without consulting your plan, without reviewing your logic, it hesitates on your behalf. What makes this difficult to see is how reasonable it feels. Let me watch one more candle. Volume isn't quite right. I want to see how it reacts at this level. These thoughts feel analytical. They feel careful. They are not analysis. They are cover. The body froze first. The mind is building a story around the freeze. Reasonable, prudent, disciplined, and price moves, exactly as anticipated. Now something sharper arrives. Not regret, something colder. It's like watching yourself from outside your own body, watching yourself not move, watching the thing happen that you knew would happen while you sat perfectly still. What follows is important. Sometimes nothing. You close the chart. Tell yourself you were being disciplined. Sometimes a late entry. Worse price, tighter stop. Executed from frustration instead of clarity. If that trade fails, it confirms something. Not about the market, about you. This is what I do. I always hesitate. Something is wrong with me. The story deepens, and next time the setup appears, the body remembers the story, not just the loss. Mark Douglas said something worth sitting with. Every trade you take is in the present moment. Every fear you bring to it is from the past. The setup in front of you has never existed before, but your body doesn't know that. It navigates the present using a map drawn from previous pain. It is doing its job. That's why this feels so convincing. The protection is real. The threat is memory. There is another layer beneath the fear of losing money. As long as you don't enter, you haven't lost. More than that, you haven't confirmed anything. You remain the trader who would have gotten it right. You stay inside possibility. Possibility is clean. Possibility doesn't hurt. Outcome is final. Outcome is evidence. Evidence of what? That you don't have what it takes. That you're the kind of person who makes mistakes. That the quiet story you've been afraid of is true. The finger doesn't move because the click is not just a trade. It's a referendum. When this is seen clearly, not as weakness, not as something to fix, just as what is happening, something shifts. Not necessarily behavior. Attention. The body may still tighten. The hand may still hesitate. But now there is a fraction of space between sensation and story, between freeze and I always do this. In that space you are watching, not being carried. You might notice hesitation clusters around specific conditions, after a loss, after sharing a public trade, after forming a strong opinion that was disproven. It isn't random. It appears where being wrong costs more than money, where it costs image. When you see the conditions clearly, it becomes less personal, less like a flaw, more like information, a signal about where the image is still fragile, where outcome is still carrying identity. Nothing is being suggested here. No breathing technique, no countdown, no forcing the click, just this. The second before execution is one of the most psychologically exposed moments in trading. Almost nothing about it is about the trade. Almost everything about it is about what being wrong means. If you stay with that, without overriding it, without escaping it, without pretending it's analysis, you begin to see something most traders never slow down enough to see, because most are too busy forcing action, building systems to get around the feeling. The feeling was never seen. It is still there. It will be there the next time a clean setup forms. The question is not how to remove it. The question is whether you can see it clearly enough that it no longer needs to disguise itself. It doesn't have to call itself discipline. It doesn't have to call itself caution. It doesn't have to call itself strategy. It can just be what it is: protection, doing its job in a moment that does not require protection. Trade well. See clearly.